All right, welcome to another DFW Running Talk. I'm Chris Detzel. And before I get to today's special guest, just want to say we're doing 10 interviews, 10 or 15 minutes to get to know these runners' backstories about how they get to Boston, why they think it's so special. And today's special guest is Robert Mackey. Robert, how are you?
Great, Chris. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have you on. And you live in DFW. Where do you live? What's the...
Almost to Denton. I'm up in Aubrey, Texas.
Okay, great. I was going to ask if you knew his name's Jim, super fast over there. I forget. I'll remember his name in a minute, but let's get to you. So you've run 2 Boston marathons. And so I want to get to your first experience, maybe a little bit before and during the Boston, and then we'll get to the other stuff if that's cool.
Okay, sure. I didn't start running until late 30s. I was almost 40 before I ran my first 5K. My son got me into it and then progressed up to a marathon. And that was 2013, my first marathon. And pretty soon after that, my wife planted the seed in my head of, why don't you try to qualify for Boston? And the first one out of the gate was just to finish. I ran over 4 hours. I ran a second one to try to go sub 4. And then that's when she said, hey, what about Boston? And I didn't even know about the qualifying standards at the time. And so I looked it up and that scared me off. And I didn't think about it for another couple of years, but it kept eating at me.
Yeah.
I made an attempt. In my third marathon, I went for a BQ.
Okay.
And I just got under. I think my standard was 325 at that time. And I just got under by about 2 minutes. And then that year ended up being, I didn't really know about the cut before when I went into the race. It was just get under 325 and I had 2 minutes. And then that cut turned out to be like almost 5.
Yeah.
That was the most extreme year. So I was cut and I almost hung up my shoes and then kept thinking about it. Went for another
Dude,
attempt.
you were so close. You can't stop. That's
that was
crazy.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah, of course.
So I eventually went for it again. I upped my training and made an attempt at CIM in Sacramento in 2019.
Yeah.
And I think that's a December race. So
yeah, it is.
I made it by about 5.5 minutes. But then right after December 2019 is when COVID
Yeah.
down the wall. That was a scary time and a lot of people were affected. But just to compartmentalize my emotions as I was waiting for that registration surrounding making it into that race.
Yeah.
I thought for a moment, oh, the race is canceled. And then, oh, no, this will be quick. We'll be shut down for a couple of weeks and then back on. The Tokyo Marathon, I think, was canceled for all but the elites in 2020. And then Boston maybe ran a virtual and London was canceled. So then I started to think these qualifying races are being canceled. I'll be good with my buffer. I'll be in. But then registration time came in September and they delayed it and we didn't know if the race was going. So all summer it was up and down, my emotions. Finally, in 2020, I think late spring, they started to announce what they were going to try to do was hold that fall race when they came back in 2020. The 125th Boston was in October.
Yeah.
So I registered. They opened up the qualifying window to 2 years instead of 1. And when that cut was announced, it turned out to be something crazy like 7.5 minutes. So I was cut again. I had 5.5.
Was it really? Wow. I don't. 7
for a short period of time because my emotions were down. I committed to New York actually that fall. And then I got a late invite back to Boston. They had cut the field to 20,000 and that's what made the cut so large as far as time. But then I think international runners weren't able to travel and some people just declined. And so I got a late email in August. Hey, we've got some limited spots. We are opening these up to qualifiers who signed up to run the virtual and you did that. So would you like to run the actual race in October? And I thought, absolutely, but I'm committed to New York. So this is now 2 marathons in 4 weeks apart. I had never done more than one in 2 years.
It's still rough.
But I jumped on the chance. I treated it as just a long run training for New York and had a fun time.
Good. Let's talk about, so I kind of want to talk about that in a way a little bit more, but let's talk about this upcoming 2026 Boston. So you ran it several years ago and then you came back. What made you decide to come back? And then 2 is what race did you run to qualify? And then let's go into Boston.
Sure. So about the time I qualified for Boston the first time is when I learned about the Abbott 6 stars. So that became a loose B goal to work on over years. And so after that Boston, that qualifying time at CIM actually got me into 2021 and 2022. So I ran Boston, New York, Boston in the spring, Chicago that fall from the same CIM qualifying time.
Damn, you already did twice. You did Boston twice already.
Yeah, within a couple of months.
Okay.
So
Forgot
after
about that.
Chicago 2022, I started to just go for those international ones once a year
Yeah.
and just fun run them,
Why not?
jog at a slow pace and enjoy the race, take in all the scenery. And then about early 2024, found a running group at White Rock Lake. I run with Endorphins on Saturday mornings
Okay.
and started to get sentimental about Boston again. For the 2025 race, the swag started to drop online. I started to see what that looked like and wanted to earn that jacket again.
Yeah.
Yeah, just as I started running with the group in early 2024, I was committed to Berlin in that fall, and I decided to make that a real effort again for the first time since CIM.
Yeah.
I trained all summer. It was one of the best training blocks I had, running the long runs with a group and having somebody to chat with all the time. And then Wednesdays, we
it's
had a
always
quick
better.
run. I did extra strength training for the first time and went to Berlin with that being the goal to run another BQ.
Okay. And so you did Berlin.
I did. I showed up really feeling fit and healthy and had a little
What'd you run?
tight calf in Berlin.
Yeah.
3:11.
Dang, dude.
Yeah, it turned
Is
out to
that your
be,
PR?
it's still my lifetime PR. I had a little scare. I got there, and on Friday with my last shakeout run, I felt like I pulled a calf muscle and I couldn't put any weight on it. I limped back to the hotel and I laid up doing everything I thought I could, massaging it, icy hot all day Saturday, didn't walk, limped to the starting line and just eased into that first mile, but
Yeah.
it loosened up and it was good. It was great weather. Couldn't have been in more perfect conditions.
That's great that you did that in Berlin. A great course to run with the sleep kind of thing and the time difference. Sometimes that can get to people, but congratulations. Now you're going to Boston. What is it that you look for? You've been there twice just within, but what is it that one is? I know you looked at the swag and stuff, but what do you like? Why do you want to go back to Boston? What's the special thing about it to you?
The history of it just hits me. It's crazy to think it's been around since the 1800s.
Mhm.
The crowds the entire way, the support you get, the way the city comes out for the race. It's just a really special environment. And I've been there twice. I qualified with the same time, got me into two, but both of those kind of went south on me. I took the first one easy because I had another race following. And then for the 2022 race, I caught COVID myself right in peak week
Oh, wow.
of training. So that ended up being my slowest time of all my races.
Yeah.
So I want to go back again and get a real honest effort and go for it. My goal really is to technically run another BQ on the Boston course.
Yeah.
Whether it qualifies me or not after the cut, I don't care. I just want to run. For me, it's sub 320. This time out, I want to be healthy and really go for it.
How's your training block so far? It's almost done. Pretty much done now. So how'd it go?
Yeah, feels good. I'm in the taper, definitely. One little long run to go.
Yeah.
Here again, I was committed to this race and got a late invite to Tokyo back on March 1st.
Oh, wow.
So that was my last Abbott race from the original 6. So I had to jump on that.
Yeah.
That became, in my training block, one of the long runs leading up to Boston. So I took Tokyo a bit easy, but went and just finished that.
How'd you get into Tokyo? What'd you do? Did you get qualified for? I don't even know. I know it's really hard to get in. So
it's a tough one to get into. Yeah, something fell in my lap. A friend of mine with the running group and I both got this invitation from a charity that partners with Chicago. They do some work out of Chicago. And we are both Abbott Gold Club members, which gives you occasionally extra draws into the lottery.
I don't think I've heard that.
Now they're starting to partner with some agencies who have bibs, and they reached out to us and said, we see that you were unsuccessful applying for Tokyo and you tried a lottery and you were unsuccessful for that. And we've got a couple of bibs. Would you like them? And both of us thought this was a scam at first. It was an email with a link to click and make a donation, and then we'll give you a bib to Tokyo. But we checked it out and it worked out.
Sweet, man. That was awesome. You want to do well in Boston, 320 or under. Feels like that's probably doable. How'd you do in Tokyo? You just took it easy, you said?
Tokyo, yeah, at 320.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You ran at 320. Okay. I mean, it's not that easy. It's not.
Yeah.
And so you want to do it again. Cool. Is there anything about the course that you look at and think, oh my gosh, I got to do this? Like the first 3 miles, I need to make sure I take it slow. Or do you like the most? Anything about that course that stands out?
I do the start. Yeah. It's easy to get caught up in the crowd and go too fast. Everybody says hold back on the first half. And I'll do that, but I'll use that downhill to my advantage and cruise it just slightly better than goal pace and try to get ahead a little bit for the hills.
Yeah.
The hills, I haven't had a good experience, like I said, at that race, but I used to train hills a lot. And on a healthy day, I don't think they don't worry me too.
Anything that we missed, whether it's about some of the things that you might do at Boston or that you want to do, just, I don't know, anything we missed that, I know it's quick hit, so we missed a lot, but anything you can think of?
2 times before. The one time I was sick, and so I wasn't doing much outside of the hotel. The other time I didn't know what to do or anything about Boston. So I'd like to enjoy the city. I'd like to take in more of the sights of the city,
Yeah.
spend more time at the expo, hit a couple of shops, and do
You know,
some
the expo's
sightseeing there this time.
changed. The expo's changed since you've been there, so it's not great, but they have these shops. I don't know if they've had this when you went last, but these shops outside of Boston, or not Boston, but the expo, and they're pop-ups. And so
Okay.
and I pretty much said this all these podcasts, but there's these pop-ups that are really cool, whether it's Nike store or whatever. There's just a lot of different places that you can go to that is specifically Boston Marathon gear, Boston Marathon stuff. So make
Mhm.
sure I don't know when you're getting there, Saturday or Sunday, check those out. It's fun.
Okay. I've seen a couple on Instagram advertise the pop up on one of the streets surrounding. So yeah, I'll hit some of those.
There's a lot of them. Robert, this has been really great. Really appreciate you getting on. That's a quick hit, so it's really cool. But thank you everyone for tuning in to another DFW Running Talk. Please subscribe to our newsletter, dfwrunningtalk.substack.com. Also, rate and review us, please. It's really helpful. Thanks everyone, and thank you, Robert.